At one point in time, I put 900 Bitcoin
Holy
into a project. The guy just fully rugged. I think he's actually still in jail right now. Crypto works when it is invisible, and that's the key.
Is it safe to say here, Jason, that you guys are like the new era of Web3, I mean, the new era of Amazon?
We've created what's called the Datagram core substrate, which is a set of processes, a toolkit essentially, that anyone who has a DePIN project can run alongside their own workload.
You use the word using Datagram. Mm-hmm. That means you guys are live.
We have lots and lots of users in Southeast Asia, a lot of users in India. It's everywhere. There's nothing on Antarctica yet, which really irritates me. If anyone's watching this and you're in Antarctica or you know somebody down there, get them to run a node and send me a picture, please.
I'm truly excited to see where this unfolds.
Thank you, man. I am too.
Hey everyone, this is Saib here, back again, your host at The Base Show. And today I have yet another fantastic builder in this space. An absolute OG, someone who's built communities and someone that you've obviously definitely seen around if you've been in the gaming space in the past few, I'd say, NFT/gaming/meta, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? I mean, okay, let's rewind a little bit. He's done a little bit too much for me to explain what he is and what he's done. So, hey man, Jason, welcome to The Base Show. I'm just going to pass it over to you. Do your intro, because there's just too many hats you've worn in the past. Sure. So tell us, man, Jason, who are you and how do I actually formally introduce you?
Sure. It's kind of a funny problem to run into when you've been in what is a nascent space for a really long time. I originally got involved in blockchain and crypto in 2013, 2014. My original introduction was looking at it sort of from the perspective of how can we use blockchain to make a difference, right? This amazing new technology, it can change the world, so let's go ahead and change the world with it, right? And so I originally got involved looking at it from the foreign aid perspective because I had done some disaster relief work in Haiti and Peru and places like that. Going forward from there, I created a concept known as the aid dollar. It was the first asset-backed stablecoin, originally designed to be used for foreign aid. Won an award from the Global Development Network and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for that. Spent a couple of years trying to turn that into a thing, but discovered that governments and NGOs are singularly uninterested in sort of...
Which year was that?
This was 2014, 2015.
Wow. Okay.
So long time ago.
That's why I say OG.
It's funny because every once in a while I'll go back and I'll read some of the stuff that I wrote back then and just go like, oh my God, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. What is this? Moved on from there to, again, still wanting to find a way to make a difference. I kind of bounced around a few different projects, mostly working in sort of a marketing and community management role. Eventually I got involved in play and earn gaming. I was one of the first employees at Gala Games.
Right.
Eventually I became the CMO and president of blockchain there. Stayed there for 4 years. Left just about a year ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we did at Gala that I was super proud of was the Founders Node Network and the community of people operating the Founders Nodes. Gala never really advanced that to the point where I wanted to see it advanced to. So after I left Gala, I got involved and co-founded a company called Datagram, which is where we are today.
Awesome, man. Well, let me just say for now, and this is where you'll know him for the future, is Jason Brink, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Jason Brink, the CEO of Datagram.
That is my
By the way, I must say this orange is eye-dazzling, bro.
It's supposed to be.
And for everyone that's watching that may or not know Datagram, he's not orange because of Bitcoin only. It's orange
because of Datagram. Or Datagram might be orange because of me. I'm not entirely sure how that worked out. But yeah,
man, because your specs, your shirt, your stripes on the short.
It's a whole fit, man.
It's a whole.
I have orange Converse that match too that I normally wear at conferences.
Got to give it to you, man. I mean, if you went around saying you're Satoshi, people might buy you on that.
Yeah, not Satoshi, but yeah.
Anyway, so Jason, interesting background, right? You've been around in the space for a very long time. Wait, by the way, did you actually buy Bitcoin back then in 2014?
Can we not talk about this?
All right.
I don't want to talk about it. No.
It's either you bought it and you sold it way too early, or either you just skipped the whole thing.
Worse than that. I bought it and then I invested it in projects that rugged. And so I was actually just thinking about this the other day. At one point in time, I put 900 Bitcoin into a project that the guy just fully rugged. I think he's actually still in jail right now for.
No way.
Yeah. It was not great.
Wow, 900 Bitcoin, bro. You wouldn't have to build Datagram anymore.
Yeah, I know, right? Nah, but hey, on the upside, I get to build Datagram now. So
all right, now this is where the real question comes.
Yeah.
You've been in the space. You've done a bunch of things. You've seen a lot. You've seen, you say the space is nascent and everything else, right? We're actually now in that whole phase of, I think institutions are coming in. We're seeing the ETFs. The space has matured a lot since 2014 for sure.
Yes.
A lot of real products are now being valued as well.
Yep.
But there's also a whole different spectrum of the side of things where like there's so much BS out there that gets way more higher valued, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you are building in this DePIN space.
Yeah.
But before we get there, like, what is Datagram?
Sure.
And what inspired you out of every other niche that you could have built in to actually build in the DePIN space?
So DePIN is kind of interesting.
What? Help us understand DePIN in the most simple way.
Sure.
And also help us understand what Datagram's doing in it.
Sure. So essentially, there's a couple phases that technology has gone through. Okay. Back in the very early days of the internet, okay, you had most companies had their own servers on site. People would host websites, on their home PC, right? And it was a very decentralized, diffuse internet. That's kind of like the Web 1,
Yep.
right? As the entire internet grew, you had sort of hyperscalers coming in and the centralization of services and massive data farms that started getting constructed and things like that. And people began using sort of devices at the edge to connect to the middle, and the middle would be the internet, if you will. Now, as we decentralize this further, what DePIN is, okay, it's decentralized physical infrastructure, okay, and it is beginning to use those devices at the edge to perform tasks. So rather than going into a data center, sending your job into a data center and getting a return back, you now send it to other edge devices around you in a large cloud type configuration. This is what Datagram is. We're building the backbone for the new internet. And it's something I'm extremely passionate about because for me, I see truly decentralized internet as being an absolute prerequisite for the next stage of our digital growth.
Interesting. But when you say that, like, how let's say how early are we in this whole DePIN space until we actually see things maturing, right? And I guess the reason I ask that as well is like there's always that two components in crypto, or let's say in Web3. One is the actual value for what the product actually serves.
Yeah.
And one is the actual price speculation for what people will actually speculate.
Yes.
Right. And usually, very often, we see a very big price disparity, or let's say just disparity in this metrics that people perceive, and hence why there's I think what you're solving here is a real problem, right? Is it safe to say here, Jason, that you guys are like the new era Web3? I mean, the new era of Amazon, for instance, right?
The idea here is to be able to replace centralized services like AWS. And honestly, that's something that we're able to in some cases do already. We started Datagram from a very different perspective than sort of your average DePIN project, most of which sort of start from the supply side. They'll build these network with a bunch of computers and a bunch of servers or GPUs or whatever, and then they'll be like, yay, I've built it, and they will come now. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But you have about 60% underutilized resources in most DePIN networks. We, on the other hand, started from the demand side. So we went out and we're like, okay, look, if we're going to build this, we need to have customers. So we go out, we get SLAs with a bunch of different companies to actually build out networks that are helping solve business problems for them. And then we solve business problems for other businesses and make experiences better for their users. So I think when you look at how early we are in things and what the prerequisites are to actually make DePIN real, we're doing it right now. And the thing that makes it real is the removal of awareness of DePIN from the end user. One of the problems that that crypto has had since the very, very beginning. And I remember, like, again, I've been here for so long. I remember having to download and compile my own shit from GitHub to make my own wallet, to, everything very, very hostile towards, sort of the newcomers, right? And so what we're doing right now is we're making it so that, if you want to participate in this ecosystem, you can do so without even knowing that you're engaging in Web3 at all. It becomes invisible. Crypto works when it is invisible, and that's the key.
Absolutely.
And the second part of that, to deal with your speculation point, is that when you have something that's invisible, it still has to feed into the token economy, which is always the problem that projects have. It's very easy to provide a service and offer it to somebody, right? But to provide a service, let people pay for that service, and then have that value transfer over into accrue towards the protocol level is.
So what is it here that the Web3 side of, let's say, the general investor, what are they touching here, or what are they involved in?
Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Like I just want to be clear. The term investment is a oddly used term at the best of times in this industry, especially as we're getting to the point where people there's even more farming right now that's taking place, and you can define investment as an investment of time, of money, of resources, of whatever, right? But given that generally the bent is on speculation, right? The focus here would be on, okay, well, if people are buying a token, they're buying a token, in my mind, based on the fact that they see an increase in adoption. Okay, because our token, which isn't even out yet, by the way, but our token is a straight up utility token. Okay, it is designed to be used. We have essentially a multi. It's not really a multi-token model, but it's similar to Helium's burn and mint equilibrium, which is the thing that most people are most familiar with. Right. So basically, you have a token that then you burn to receive credits for use in the ecosystem. Now, this is always a burn. If you're burning credits to actually get usage, that doesn't come to us. It's not like you're paying us. It actually goes. It's a burn that actually takes place. You receive your data credits. You then use the system for hosting, or for real-time communication, or for streaming, or whatever the hell it is that you want to use it for. And that value then, that burn, is beneficial to everybody else who's holding the token, right? That's the sort of basic theory, right? So that is how most of them are touching this. And the idea here is that if we build systems that are good enough to allow other people to build businesses on top of what we're doing, then you will see an increase in that value accrual.
Because then adoption comes into play as well.
Exactly. And the really critical thing here for us is that it doesn't have to be adoption like, if you look at the majority of Web3 protocols and projects out there, they count users in thousands or tens of thousands sometimes. You're very fortunate if you have a Web3 project that has users up in the, actual users in the millions or tens of millions, right?
I've seen so many protocols out there talking about millions of users.
Hundreds of millions of users, right? For sure. Definitely for sure. But the reality is that it's not easy to get users in this space. And so the way that we solve this problem, okay, if you were to ask yourself, how many users does AWS have, right? You have to think about that, because it's not the same as how many businesses use AWS. Okay, you take an app, for example, something like Uber. Okay, you use Uber. Okay, not obviously here you don't use Uber, but in other places you use Uber, and you never think to yourself when you book a ride, AWS is awesome. Right?
It's Uber is awesome.
Never occurs to you. Uber's awesome. Now, Uber may use AWS or AliCloud or whatever the hell it is that they use in the background. But the experience from a user perspective is just with Uber. So
Correct.
our job is to become a protocol that services businesses to make it easier for those businesses, easier and more efficient for those businesses to service their customers.
And these businesses aren't just your Web3 protocols.
No, not at all.
These are actual businesses.
The majority of the people that are actually using Datagram right now are academic institutions, governments, and there's some pretty significantly sized Web 2 companies in Southeast Asia that are using it.
Interesting. You use the word using Datagram. That means you guys are live.
Yeah. We're live.
Awesome.
We're live. Well, it's testnet right now. So the token economy part isn't functional yet for those clients, but as soon as we switch to Mainnet, which will be very soon, then it will be.
So when did you actually start? How old has this been around? How much development have you?
A lot. So I was very fortunate to meet my co-founder, Dr. William Nguyen.
Okay.
Dr. William is probably one of the best examples of brilliant tech founder that I've ever met.
Yep.
This guy has been working on decentralized and distributed compute for a tremendously long time. Okay, so back when I was, in fourth grade, okay, was when this guy was at Lawrence Livermore Labs in California working on decentralized and distributed computing and spinning up Beowulf clusters in the mid-90s and stuff like that, okay? He then went on to do decentralized and distributed compute for computational biology at Harvard Med, and then later as a Sloan Fellow at Harvard.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so he's been building this for literally 25 years.
Interesting.
Okay. And so I came in and I'm the Web3 side, I'm the community side, I'm the one who can help him, realize this vision sort of beyond what he is.
Connect both the worlds.
Exactly.
Because I've personally seen you build communities ground up, and that's what you've done a fantastic job back at Gala Games. I think obviously, I don't know for the better or for the worse, you were the face of Gala, and that's how much you put yourself in the position out there, building that community.
Did you ever see the movie Fight Club?
Yes.
At the end of Fight Club, where Ed Norton is like sitting on the ground in the alleyway, punching himself in the face.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to be the face of a body that you have no control over. Just put it that way.
Well, all right. I'd say, question here would be, now that you have been around, for a while, like, what achievements have you guys gained so far? Like, what's I want to go back to the question you just mentioned about people are using.
Yeah.
So tell us more about this traction so far.
Yeah, we've got about 1.2 million users right now for Datagram. Yeah, and about 200 companies that are building on top of Datagram.
Wow.
The other thing that we have that I'm incredibly excited about is at the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned that there's a lot of BS in the blockchain space. And in the DePIN space, okay, as a subset, it's really bad sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was a while where people were saying like, okay, we're going to sell nodes, right? And this is something that you and I have even talked about. We're going to sell nodes. And then they go to sell nodes. They sell nodes. They use it as a way to raise funds. And then when it's done, they're like, well, we don't really know what to do with nodes, but thanks for the money, I guess. And then they just go off and do whatever it is that they're doing, but they don't really build out the DePIN side of things. The reason that they don't do this, though, to a certain extent, is because DePIN is hard. This is not an easy thing to do.
Yep.
And so we've done this, though. And so what we've done is we've created what's called the Datagram core substrate, which is a set of processes and a toolkit, essentially, that anyone who has a DePIN project can run alongside their own workload. Okay? And what that does then is that allows us to track the uptime and usage of that node. Okay, on their project. Let's say you have a decentralized music project that has nothing whatsoever to do with us.
Yep.
You put that on the Datagram core substrate. Okay, you just add the Datagram core substrate to your workload.
Yep.
We can now track uptime and usage. This enables you, okay, as a DePIN operator, to have an actual on-chain record of uptime and usage.
Okay.
Which is not a thing that exists very very much in the space.
Interesting.
And then from our side, okay, you now have, your decentralized music platform. I wish you the best with it, but oftentimes these projects don't have the usage that they would like to have, so they have a ton of excess capacity.
Right.
We actually can use that capacity. So it allows you to turn your nodes for your entire network essentially into almost multi-miners. Okay.
Interesting.
So now we can overflow capacity into your idle nodes, okay, allowing you an extra way to earn, or allowing your users an extra way to earn. We're giving you uptime usage and tracking statistics for your nodes, so it makes your distribution actually, provable and based on chain. And, everybody wins. And that allows us to scale our network and create a network of interconnected DePIN projects that all serve one another.
So what you're saying is you're actually a marketplace, but you're the intermediary both on the demand and the supply side. Because now on the supply side, you're actually getting all these idle nodes, or let's say nodes that are not being used, to be able to get them to provide their idle space to this marketplace, which then gets the demand side, which are all the universities, the companies, and all those big institutions.
Correct.
Interesting. Now, you touch upon nodes.
Yes.
Right? And yes, we spoke about this.
Yes.
And I guess everyone here in this space, and I'm pretty sure everyone that's going to be able to watch this video is tired, right? It's tired of nodes. And let me explain why.
Sure.
Precisely because of the reason that you mentioned.
Yeah.
One, they've figured out that it's just yet another NFT.
Right.
Or a checker node, whatever you want to call it, that is not actually being used as part of their core functionality. And that actually has some really, I don't want to use the word Ponzi, but it has some really interesting tokenomics, per se, that eventually is a net negative for the investor that invests in the nodes, right? So I guess my question is, you guys are going down the same route of raising funds through nodes, but how are you different?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things. For starters, for us, nodes actually do something. Okay, this is the first key principle, is that if you're going to have a node, it has to do stuff. Okay, it shouldn't be just a bullshit heartbeat server. Okay, it shouldn't be just a hey, I'm here every once in a while, give me some tokens please, service. It needs to actually perform a function. Okay, and so you can't have, and let's just step back for a second. At a technical level, it is impossible for you to have DePIN without nodes. Okay, a node in the actual most literal sense is simply a point on a network. That is a node on a network. Okay, now whether you're talking about selling it or just running it or whatever it is, at a technical level, it's still a node.
Right.
Right. So if you're going to do DePIN, you're going to have nodes.
Yep.
Now the question then becomes, how are people acquiring these nodes? How are they running them? And what do they do? Okay. So in our case, we are having a node sale that's kicking off next month in August. And I'm not sure when this airs, but depends, I guess. August. And so we are selling nodes. They're not being sold at any sort of ridiculous pricing structure or anything like that. However, what we find is that if you give people nodes for free and they just run the nodes, they tend not to value the node, and they tend not to run it. They don't really care about it. If you've paid something for it, even if it's a nominal fee, which in the scale of nodes, what we're charging for these is quite nominal. It's not like a gigantic amount. It's not your $80,000 ridiculous node that you've seen.
What's the range that you guys are launching at?
So the lowest priced node that you can get, so there's essentially 3 tiers. Okay. The first tier is just a node. The second tier is a node plus an airdrop capsule, okay, which gives you tokens that are vested when paired with a node. And the third is a node, an airdrop capsule, and a membership to Datagram Prime, which is our premier Discord channel where there's alpha and you get early access to stuff and things like that. So those are essentially the 3 different things. There's only 25,000 nodes that are going to be available in this first thing, so it's not like 200,000 or anything like that. And that will be all there is for the next year. Okay, at least, maybe longer. And they start off at $150 and they top out at the high end, I think it's 700.
Got it.
So it's like
25,000 is your fixed tier, as in like fixed ceiling, or
is the fixed ceiling for the first year. The ecosystem's designed to operate at about 200,000 nodes.
Okay.
But we feel that initially at the get-go, 25,000 is a good number to start with. And my plan, now this may not, tokenomics and whatnot have, there's
still being worked,
fluctuations as these things go. But my plan is that any additional nodes beyond this, I would like to have them activated via staking, not by having a purchased license.
Right. Okay.
So I would like to have people be able to take tokens, stake tokens, run a node in the future.
And then acquire more nodes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And our key here, though, is to get the broadest distribution possible, so that the nodes can actually provide the services that they're supposed to provide to the network.
Interesting. And so far, I've read on your tweets that you guys have almost like 100,000 nodes activated on your testnet.
120,000 nodes on testnet right now.
Wow. So that means there's really a bustling community out there.
Massive community. The Discord and
where
is hopping.
Where does majority of your community come from?
It's actually really incredibly global.
Oh wow! Okay.
Like you want to see? I'll show you a map. I'll just do this really quick, just because because it's kind of fun. But here is the actual map, and you can just flip through that, and you can just zoom in and take a look. There's a lot. It's a very global community. We have lots and lots of users in Southeast Asia, a lot of users in India, a lot of users.
Man, this is like. Literally, you guys have covered almost every continent.
It's everywhere.
You have covered every continent.
There's nothing on Antarctica yet, which really irritates me. So if I can find someone if anyone's watching this and you're in Antarctica or you know somebody down there, get them to run a node and send me a picture, please.
Can I get my penguins out there to run some?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure like a few of our Pudgy fans here might have penguins there.
I'm gonna have to talk to Bam Bam. We'll have this conversation. There has to be a penguin. No,
that's a very impressive map right there. I mean,
it's super cool, and it's nice for me because ideally, in an ideal scenario for a DePIN project, okay, and this is a pet peeve, so I'm gonna get a tiny bit spicy here. Yep. In an ideal scenario for a DePIN project, you want the network to be as broadly distributed as possible, right? Yep. So the best scenario is, in the case if we're talking 25,000 nodes, would be 25,000 nodes and 25,000 households on dedicated machines with really good internet spread around the globe. The worst thing, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen this in various other projects, is where you have a quote-unquote DePIN, but 80% of your nodes are all pointed back to an AWS server farm somewhere. And it's like, guys, this isn't DePIN. Yeah. This is you just hosting your shit on AWS because it's cheaper. This does nothing for us. So I'm very proud of that map.
Jason, I guess, how does this 130,000 test nodes run or translate into your actual nodes that you will be starting to, sell on August?
So our hope is, that a certain percentage of these operators will decide they would like to continue running a node, and so they'll pick up a license.
Was this testnet nodes paid for as well?
No, these were free nodes that anyone could run. And for us, it's really important for people to be able to see how easy it is to run a node.
Got it.
And how, there's a lot of trepidation that people have when they go to purchase something, because they're like, well, if I buy it, I don't know how to run it.
And they're obviously getting testnet tokens that will be translated into Mainnet as well.
Correct.
So that's their early incentive to test it out, to be part of the community, but to also get a good feel of what they're doing.
Exactly.
And then eventually be able to, translate and ask themselves whether they want to be part of the mainnet nodes as well.
Exactly.
That's a good way to actually onboard the actual communities. And
it really makes a difference too, because what I find is that you're able to, in this space, there's so much crap out there so many promises that are made, so many things that are like, oh, this is going to be great, right? Sell the future, right? I don't want to do that. I want people to see, look, this is here now. This exists. This works. now. You can use it right now. If you want to spin up a RTC call across our node network, you can go to demo.datagram.network and you can do it now, okay? And it actually works, and it actually goes across the node network, and it is beautiful. And so those nodes, having people able to see them, to use them, run them, make sure that they work, try the services, see that they work, and then join the community and see that it is an extremely active, vibrant, growing, happy, engaged community is so important, because that's another thing that so many projects mess up in this space is they don't respect and honor their community.
Yep.
You know, this is DePIN. This is decentralized infrastructure, right? You can't have decentralized infrastructure if you don't have a community to run that infrastructure. It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. And so the community is actually so important for us.
That's actually a great point that you make here, because again, without naming any projects, a lot of these nodes out there that I know, I run majority of these nodes as well, right? And you're right. It to be decentralized, to really play the power of DePIN, you need to be decentralized, right? And that really means being able to conquer decentralization in different parts of the world globally as well.
Yes.
Right. How far away are you from Mainnet though? How does timeline look for you guys?
2 months, 3 months maybe.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's very quick. There's TGE is happening this year for sure.
Interesting. How are you guys VC funded and backed as well?
We did a very small round.
Okay.
We raised about $4 million. Fund was led by Blizzard, or Avalanche's Blizzard Fund.
Right.
But we also have Animoca and Iskra, Aquanow, a bunch of strategics essentially.
Got it. No
giant VC backing. No. I don't want to name names of projects, but there have been projects that have had, massive token allocations going to VCs that did exactly what VCs do, which is sell tokens to make VC money. You can't get angry at VCs for doing VC stuff. You just can avoid them if necessary.
If possible.
Yeah. And for us, given that we self-funded, we built out all the tech ourselves. We didn't need VC funding for that. Our raise was purely strategic and to bring in partners and for marketing.
Interesting, man. I think your go-to-market strategy has been very interesting. Especially with the community build. And in my opinion, I think, one of the most, as we mentioned time and again, one of the most the biggest reason is people have been hammered down with the promises of what nodes can actually do for them from an investment perspective. But that's also because a lot of these people have bought nodes because they just wanted to simply invest into the speculation side of the project based on... based on the VC, the backing they've got, the capital, the liquidity, and eventually the exchanges that they'll be listing into. Right?
Yeah. I think that for a long time, and I've seen this so many times through so many different cycles. I remember the ICO boom and craze of like 2016, 2015, 2016, 2017. And the just absolutely silly, ridiculous ICOs that were taking place. People selling things, based on a white paper that just never went anywhere. It was just a nightmare. So I remember that. I never did an ICO. I never participated really in an ICO. I bought into some, obviously.
You did 900 Bitcoin into one project,
but
before that.
just don't, you're going to hurt my heart again. I might die.
That's really the first and the last ICO.
That was bad. But the guy ended up going and buying like condos in Hawaii with it or some shit like that.
I'm not surprised.
It was terrible. And so like ICOs, people realized attracted regulatory problems. And so the magical thing that everybody had was like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to do an ICO. We're going to sell nodes. Right. And that is terrible too. Right. Because it just became another way for people to dress up their fundraise.
Absolutely.
For us, these nodes again do stuff. They like the network does not exist or does not work without them. And so I'm very, very happy to build this out, and I hope that over time we can move on to the staking and things like that for the token for growing the network.
Absolutely.
But again, it always boils down to what's necessary to create the best, most performant network possible.
Yeah. No, I like I said, I've been part of that group or groups of investors that have been, I'd say, hammered down, sentiments at all-time low for nodes. But this is exciting. I think, you guys, especially with your co-founders background, the kind of stuff and community that you guys have built, I'm truly excited to see where this unfolds.
Thank you, man. I am too. It's gonna be fun. There's a lot of cool growth and cool things coming.
Jason, Bitbender, where does that come from, man? I'm curious.
So years ago, there was one project that I was involved in, and there was this guy. He was the CTO of the project or something like that. And I had designed something, I think it was. I had invented like a little character to display their roadmap in a graphical format. And, they're like, oh, that's fantastic. It's like you're like a airbender, but with graphics, you're like a bitbender. And it just sort of stuck because, you have the airbender from Avatar, and then you have Bender from Futurama. Bender from Futurama is my spirit animal.
Yep.
So very, very, very big fan of that. So it works out nicely.
Makes sense. No, because you were always known as Jason Gala Games, Jason. You always Bitbender, now Jason Datagram. So
yeah.
So it's a good tag. It's a good tag. Now I get it. And Jason the Orange Man.
I am orange.
Well, Jason, I'm truly excited to see where this unfolds, because if this does do what it is expected to do, I think it will change the perception of DePIN entirely.
I think so.
And this is what we need in the space. This is exactly what people, whether it's investors, whether it's just general businesses or people or stakeholders in not just Web3 but Web2 as well, can realize exactly what you said, is that, hey, forget the whole DePIN, forget the whole nodes, forget the whole Web3. If they're being able to use the next Uber of next big protocol of Web3, or a super consumer app, a super app or a consumer app on web of a blockchain that's actually empowered by Datagram, that's a huge deal.
That's
right?
That's what it's for.
And that's what we want to see, right? So, I mean, I know Rome isn't built in a day, but you've already achieved a lot. Kudos to you for that. Rooting for you. And, we're all here and excited to see what unfolds next.
Let's make it happen.
Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
That's and I'm pretty sure everyone will have their eyes on you to see how this progresses. Keep in mind, guys, this actually launches, the node sale goes live in August, and this isn't just a node dressed in nodes, but it's actually a node that serves a node.
It does stuff, guys. It's a node that does things. We need these.
Well, Jason, thanks for coming on the show again. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys, this was yet another episode with Jason. I really, really hope that you guys found some nuggets, and keep following these guys. I'll have their links below. But until then, guys, cheers.